Whew. Beautiful day in Stark Vegas today. It's Chamber of Commerce weather, 60 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. Great day to be a Bulldog. Proud of our team last night. Thought going on the road and playing a good LSU team and playing as well as we did, especially early, was really good. And thought our energy defensively was obviously really good. We executed early, made some shots early. Andy made some shots early. We found her in transition, and just coming back today, there's no rest for the weary. You got to get ready to play a really talented, well-coached Alabama team. Tremendous, really a tremendous basketball team. They're playing at a very high level. They've been in every ball game minus one, and that was on the road, and that can happen in this league. Obviously, they went to South Carolina, had the lead late inside a minute, and ended up losing that game by 3, but played very well there. Obviously, they had a great game against Tennessee at home, and so they have our undivided attention today and tomorrow. And we're going to have to really have great preparation for an early ball game on Sunday. 12 o'clock noon start will be really early, and it's always a little bit more difficult on the visiting team. They've had an extra few days to prepare for us. They didn't play last night, and so that's just the nature of the beast and the flip of the coin, I guess. So we'll have 2 good days and head that way on Saturday evening to play on Sunday.
Start over here with Adam.
I should walk over to you. For all of the players, Coach talked in the last media availability about trying to be perfect and that it's never possible, wanting to beat somebody something to nothing. Can you guys each maybe think about one area where you guys as a team can move closer to being perfect? And just maybe tell me why you chose that area.
Jack, you want to start?
Sure. I guess just the defensive end. I think we have room to improve on that end. Just because we do have a young team and they don't really get the point of help side yet. So I think we can improve on that piece, and that'll help us come closer to our goal.
Like Jay said, once we figure out, help side and who's dropping and whose rotation it is, then we'll be better once we understand that part.
I mean, 2 seniors pretty much covered everything. Just understanding rotations and all that stuff. So, yeah.
They're all about defense today. I would talk about being perfect in some other areas, but that's good. I'm glad they're thinking that way.
It was infectious last night.
Yeah.
Coach, you talked for the past few weeks about being interested on defense and how you're trying to get your team to be that way, and then last night you only gave up 35 points. What got your team interested about defense last night?
That's a great question. I wish I had the answer. I could bottle it up and open it every day. With this group, they're a little different, as every team is, and I think with Jazz and Jordan, they have a real feel for when there's quote unquote blood in the water, and I think they get a real feel for when they have an advantage, and so I think from that standpoint, and we're pretty athletic out there. You throw Andra in that group. That's 3 pretty quick guards, if you will, that can really get out and do some things. Andy may not be as quick, but she's learned to be a good help side defender, and that's a piece that we really need from her position. And T protects everybody. There's times in games you'll see somebody wanting to drive and they get about halfway there and they see T standing there and they just go nope, and they back out. And she gets no credit, no block shot, no nothing, but she's the reason. And so I think that when you have people like T and Jessica and I just think that and even Zion, I think that helps you a bunch. So I think that's it pretty much for me. I see it. When I see those kids, you know, they'll get one steal and then they realize, hey, we can get another one. Or hey, we can get, you know, we can really cause some problems here. Our 4s and 5s, T's even getting up the line and doing a good job of denying at the elbows. You know, people want to run their offense through her players. So last night they tried to backdoor Enriel early, threw it out of bounds. So it just takes one. You get one charge, you get one denial on a backdoor, one turnover on a pass out of bounds, and a lot of teams will just go, forget it, you can't do it.
Vic, do you have an update on Breamber yet?
You know, she's going to probably sit out today, just precautionary measures, and we'll figure it out tomorrow.
And Andy, how have you kind of adapted to that starter role the last couple of weeks?
I think my teammates have helped. Their confidence, like I said last night, their confidence in me has helped my confidence on the court a lot. So really, credit goes to them.
Come back over here to Adam.
Andy, another one for you, being the newbie of the bunch. Can you equate learning Coach Schaefer's defensive philosophy, strategies, tendencies to learning anything in school, algebra, trigonometry, and can you just take us through what that learning process has been like for you to maybe go through some trial and error, to maybe have to run some stadium steps inside the home pier?
Yeah, I probably compare it to stats. Took it last semester. Wasn't a big fan of it until I got the hang of it and ended up loving it. Got an A in class. And I guess sort of like coach's defense, turning and running. Didn't understand it. Finally, sort of kind of got the grip of it. Still learning it, but I think eventually I'll fall in love with it.
It's nice.
Danny?
Danny, now that you've played some games in the SEC now, was it kind of what you expected when you came here, and just what is your impressions, and coach, just talk about how you feel like she's adjusted to this level of competition?
I mean, it's everything Coach said. It's a tough, physical, aggressive league. Definitely the best league in the country. So, yeah, definitely what I expected.
Yeah, you know, I think for a young person that's had very little experience as she's had, she's really taken the reins and run, and is doing a good job. I think her role is a little bit similar to what Blair did for us. I need her to be a good help side defender. I need her to make shots when they leave her open, and I don't need her to turn it over. And if she can find T and pass her the ball every now and then, that makes it even better. And I think that has a real value to a team. People have to guard her. You know, it spaces out the floor and allows Jazz and Joe to really create and do some things for themselves. She runs the floor like Blair in a lot of ways, gets out on transition, so you can find her. Jazz finds her and looks for her. And so I just think there's I think she's doing a good job there. And she's a bigger guard, so she can get her shot off a little better. She's got a good mid-range game. Doesn't have as much trouble getting that off as maybe Blair would have because of her size or lack of size. And so the thing for her, again, is just the turnover piece. She played really well last night. She had 4 turnovers. And, I just need her to, that's 4 shots we don't get. So she just needs to learn to take care of the ball a little better.
For Jazz and Teaira, just in what ways is this team different this year as opposed to the previous 2 years?
Well, we don't have as many shooters as we did last year, and basically the year before that. So it's just we get more paint points instead of standing on the arc and shooting it.
Yeah, I have to agree with T. We just have a lot of different players that can do a lot of different things. Not only shoot the 3, but they can get to the basket. They can create their own shots. So I mean, if we're getting steals out front, then we can get easy layups. So.
Coach, I think going into last night's game, you guys still had the #1 offense in the country, around 90 points per game. Past 2 games haven't reached that. Is that just a result of getting up early in games and then just kind of coasting, or does that go back to the interest thing? You guys have lost interest on offense maybe for stretches of time, or why? I mean, 68 points isn't 90, obviously.
No, I think you have to give credit to your opponents. Both the last 2 opponents have played zone, And so, and they're better opponents. And so I think you give credit to your opponents. Obviously, our execution can probably be better. We've had great execution, like last night in the first half. And then the second quarter was not real good. Third quarter was great. Fourth quarter was not very good. And so that's the thing about this team. We're just really inconsistent right now. We're inconsistent as individuals. We're inconsistent as a team. And it's just, you know, that's the piece that I'm really challenged with as a coach, is to develop that consistency. But I think you got to give your opponents credit, coaching and scouting and all that, and realize that people are going to know what you're doing and how you're doing it. I tried to tell them last night, look, I told Andriel, they're coming to screen you like they did Victoria. They're going to try to get you in foul trouble. Well, they did. The old guy's been around the block a couple times. You might want to listen and pay attention, and that's what they did. I mean, they were wearing T out early, just every little thing, and I was really proud of Teaira because she kept her composure. She played within the scope and the rules of the game, which she has to do, and she knows that every eyeball's on her. And so, you know, just looking at her numbers, she's in her last 5 ball games. Wrong one, you're right. You know, in her last 5 ball games, she's 19 and 14 and a half, almost 15 rebounds. And that includes 2 points at Florida. I mean, she's playing at an unbelievable, shooting 65% and playing at a really high level. And again, I think that for us, it's that consistency piece. And again, understanding we're going against some really good coaches, and they're doing a great job of prepping.
Come over here to Brett, have time for 2 more.
You mentioned Alabama is getting the benefit of not having a midweek game in between Sunday games. You're about to get that with Tennessee after this one. How do you kind of use the Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday in this situation where you don't have an opponent to play for on Thursday?
You know, it's different. It just kind of depends on where your team is, what your health situation is, and those kinds of things. I gave them, when we had the off game on Sunday, I gave them Saturday and Sunday off, and let them kind of, we had played a couple knockdown dragouts, and they had played a lot of minutes, so I felt like some of our kids just needed 2 days in succession. You know, this next week we'll see how Sunday goes, and it's yet to be determined kind of what we're going to do. They always have Monday off, and we'll see what the rest of the week holds. Comes at a good time though, for sure.
For Jazz and for Teaira, the initial comment that you guys talked about defensively and things to work on, I think you both said rotations. Being your experience level with the program, is that still getting used to the rotations? Is that because of the newer players and maybe not being familiar with what's expected? And how do you guys try to maybe help them along in terms of how quickly they're picking things up?
Yeah, I think it is because they're new to the system. They don't really understand why you drop or why you go over to help, or you know, why we rotate the way we do. So I think them just focusing on, you know, if so and so goes over, then I have to drop. It's my drop, or it's my backside shift. So them just knowing that piece.
Okay, anything else, guys? Thank you, ladies.
I appreciate y'all. Praise the Lord, go Dogs.